Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is a very special one. Last year, he held a speech on our first evening at the Dinner for Partners. After the dinner, he then took some time to meet our students' organizing team. Engaging with him, we felt the courage and dedication that has defined his entire career. And this had a lasting impression on all of us. It's therefore my great honor to welcome back Wladimir Klitschko in conversation with Oli Aslan. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be back here at the St. Gallen Symposium, indeed, and wonderful to see you again, Wladimir. The last time you and I shared a stage like this together was only 3 months ago at the Munich Security Conference. But in the world that we live in, 3 months is a long time. A lot is changing within a relatively short amount of time that we are seeing. And you were just in Kiev 3 days ago, is my understanding, in Ukraine. Russian attacks on Ukraine and Ukrainian cities continue. What's the spirit like back home these days?
Unbreakable. It's unbreakable. Putin lost already 2014 when the war started. Don't forget about it. It's not 2022. 2022 was full-scale war. 2014, it was kind of try to capture part of, which worked out, part of Eastern Ukraine and Peninsula Crimea. He wanted to try more, but that didn't work. We were counted out before full-scale war 2022. That didn't work either. So we will continue to resist. We will continue to ask our allies to support us so we can hold the Russian Empire and Putin's ambitions to rebuild it. And we all know where the borders of Russian and Soviet Empire were. We will continue to resist and we'll continue to fight. So the front line stays in the east of Europe, not here. Because if you snooze, you lose very fast. We were warning you since 2014 that's going to happen. You didn't believe us. 2022 showed that our warnings were not heard. And now we're in full-scale war in Europe. We just heard never again from the Swiss president, Madame Swiss president. But unfortunately, it's war in our home, in Europe. We got used to, after the Second World War, look up to the bigger brother, the United States. I know what it feels like. I have older brother, Vitaly. So, but at some point, you need to realize we have to rely on ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. We have, unfortunately, again, war at our home. And we must to take care of it now, not to postpone it for later on.
Yeah, the spirit in Ukraine, or rather of the Ukrainian people, remains unbreakable. You say the spirit is still very strong back home. And you, of course, with your foundation, the Klitschko Foundation, are actively contributing a very important part to make sure that that spirit remains unbreakable. Let's have a quick look at some of the work that the Klitschko Foundation is doing on a daily basis. Let's leave no one behind. Bring stolen children back home. And you're seeing there, of course, the QR codes for all those people who want to support that cause. It's a cause that is very dear to you, isn't it?
It is. Can you imagine 1.6 million children being stolen? 20% of Ukrainian territory now occupied by the Russian forces. So 1.6 million, it's how many children are here now and going to be born in the next 3 years. I'm speaking about Switzerland. 20% of the Ukrainian territory that were captured, it's like 3 times the size of Switzerland. Unfortunately, up to those numbers are changing. So unfortunately, we cannot stick to the numbers. They're not remaining the same. They're changing in the worse direction. Up to 2,000 children badly injured, lost their limbs, their eyes, actually their chance in living a normal life. Up to 1,000 children were murdered, killed. And that's happening every single day and every single night, because we're getting bombarded with kamikaze drones and ballistic rockets and so on, every single night, over 3 years now. Can you imagine? You're living at home and foreign soldier gets into your house and tells you, your children are not yours anymore, it's ours. They're sending into the filtration camps. They're getting brainwashed that their parents are bad, their country doesn't exist, their language must be forgotten. Their identity well rewritten. They're getting Russian passports and sending for adaptation in deep Russia. So your boys, before they will reach adulthood, the weapon is going to give in their hands, and they're going to serve Russian army. And your daughters must correct the birth rate and demography of Russia. So we just had this image of the Alps and Switzerland in the previous session, and we think, so I'm telling you stories like, it sounds like a Hollywood horror movie, and it's somewhere far away. It's not. It is in Europe. And you saw the image with the red color of Switzerland, and if you just right there, it was right there by the Carpathian, so in the neighborhood, Ukraine is right there. The horror is taking place right there, not far away from here. So, speaking of Ukrainians, we're a very talented nation. We are the largest European land-wise country, and we're the richest European country with natural resources and its soil. We are part of the global economy. We're providing for 1 billion people food in Asia and Africa. We're a great addition for that home, for us, for Europeans. And the most important, it's not just the natural resources, it's the human resources. We talk about numbers, we're driven by business, we're driven by the deals that must be taken, but it's not just about that. It's about the young souls, the future of us Europeans. Talented, beautiful, and with a great desire to live and create, coming back and speaking about our Ukrainian children. And I just want to call for action now. You got all the possible information through the barcodes, and you can support us now. Obviously, without the support of our allies, it's going to be impossible to continue to resist. So let's stay together. As a former athlete in the past, by the way, with Madame President, was an amazing meeting as well, I have to say. I never, ever, you have an amazing president, you Swiss people, you have an amazing president. I have met probably all of the presidents in this world, the good and the bad ones, unfortunately. But I never, ever seen a president, a female president, swinging with her hands, little hands, but strong will in her eyes, and saying, I'm a fighter too, and I love boxing. And that was amazing meeting. I never, we just met first time, and I was like, wow, that doesn't look like a politician. Yeah. But my man, my body. Yeah. Yeah?
And I was part of that conversation. You talked 10 minutes about boxing techniques. I thought that was
exactly.
Very telling. Yeah. So a lot to learn from you, that's for sure. Wladimir, thank you so much. I think the point is very well made. The human suffering in Ukraine is very well documented, and the Klitschko Foundation and your personal efforts here are very well appreciated in that regard. That goes without saying. Let's talk about some of the current ongoings here. Obviously, ever since US President Trump has come into office, he's making a push to achieve peace in Ukraine. And at the heart of President Donald Trump's peace plan is, of course, the future of Crimea. There are growing pressures on Ukraine, both from Donald Trump but also from other countries, to accept territorial concessions. Moscow currently controls about 20% of Ukrainian territory. And even your brother, the mayor of Kiev, Vitaly Klitschko, has recently told the BBC that Ukraine may have to temporarily give up land for peace. He says it's not fair, but Ukraine might be forced to take a painful solution for peace here. What's your take?
Look, just in the past 24 hours, the ceasefire been out there in the room, so to speak, that was broken right away by the Russians. They just bombed past night Konstantinovka, which is in the east of the country, but it's on Ukrainian side and been not captured by the Russian forces. Human lives been taken, so you cannot trust Putin's Russia. You can't. Putin's Russia understands only force and strong resistance. You cannot handle from the position of weakness, but strength. And I know that. From my previous life as an athlete, you definitely can handle things from the position of being and staying strong. And we have to show it. We are all in Europe and obviously in Ukraine for fair peace. Devils in details, what fair peace means. Obviously, the borders must be there. There were war in the beginning of the 90s, when we gave up for a lot of guarantees and promises from the United States, Russia, and Europeans. We gave up our nukes. We give up our rockets and planes that today bombarding us. How much can we trust for the next promise of guarantee for the security of Ukraine, unless we take care on ourselves with our allies? And I believe that fair peace means also consequences for the aggressor. Without the consequences, the same will continue not just in Europe, but in the world. It will motivate dictators to continue, invade, kill, torture, murder, and steal. Without the consequences as a prevention, there's going to be no healthy environment in the society, in any country, including this country. That's why it is important to act in a complex way, but fair peace must be there, and I'm sure we're going to get it. The only question is when. And also the question how much of support we can give to Ukraine. We are tired. And I can feel that it was easier to get any support in the first 2 years, but it's more complicated now. The society is getting tired here in the West. Getting tired of listening of the horrifying news or hearing horrifying news. It's just not news anymore. It's just another day with that war. Nothing new. But how much of this support can be provided? As much as this senseless war is still going. The more we do now, the less we're going to do tomorrow of this support. And trust me, you cannot even ask or think how long can that last or how long can we're tired basically. Trust us. On the front line there in Ukraine, we're pretty much tired too. But we know if we fail, you're going to be next. We don't want you to be next. We don't want to be next, but we want to defend and live in a democratic, peaceful country, as we have decided 2014 after our Maidan revolution.
The aspirations for peace in Ukraine are very evident and very clear. Again, the territorial concessions might have to be made at some point to achieve peace. We will see, of course. The peace process is still ongoing. You're right, of course, to say there might be war fatigue in the West concerning the war, but we do see a momentum. We do see a momentum that Ukraine is back on the agenda, is back in the headlines. A lot of details are developing, including, of course, the US-Ukraine minerals deals, which I want to talk to you quickly. The deal gives the US access to your countries, to Ukraine's natural resources. Both countries will share future revenues from Ukraine's minerals. And a lot of people say it's a good thing from a Ukrainian perspective because it gives the US a financial stake in Ukraine's future. It ties US profit to US post-war recovery. And we have seen that since the deal, President Trump has adopted a tougher stance and tone towards Putin. How do you assess this minerals deal? Is this for the better? Is this an advantage for Ukraine moving forward?
I do believe it's a win-win. I do believe because we do have those natural resources, but we need to reach them. So it's not that easy to reach them. You need to invest. And I think it's a win-win if such deal, not just on the paper as it is right now, but in reality will occur and take place. Obviously, devil's in details. You cannot handle such deal with Russians that have occupied our territories and about territories on that deal that is Ukrainian. You have to look in particular and adapt it to the current environment, where that's going to take place and when. And I do believe it could be a great, as I said, win-win scenario. But also, we need to understand what we're giving up, and promise or security for the future. Just reminding you of what was said before and how it was in the first time when we give up our nukes. And we received as well a guarantee for our sovereignty of our borders that obviously today is just It doesn't exist.
Yeah, so certainly an interesting development, because now undermining Ukraine also means threatening American economic interests. I think that's something to be taken into account. Certainly one of the issues that, from the Ukrainian perspective, were quite vital and important was, of course, NATO membership. The Secretary of Defense, U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, has said early on the prospects of Ukraine joining NATO is illusionary. Ukraine will not join NATO. Is that something, aside from the territorial concessions that Ukraine might have to make, is that something that you, as a proud Ukrainian, you would be fine with?
Hey, look, NATO, we've been discussing to be part of NATO for a long time, and it's something that we've been asked for, and it's interesting, and it seems like the European Union, including the US as ally, so it's questionable, is the US going to be part of NATO or not? So we're going to be, in the future, we will know soon. But it's something that we've been asking for and hoping for, and it's something that was kind of out there, and do you really want to have it? You want to be part of it? You know what? Things are changing now. Now we're going to ask you, are you stronger as NATO, as European Union, with Ukraine, or are you weaker without Ukraine? There's going to be time when NATO is going to ask us, please be part of us. In the modern warfare, there is no other country but Ukraine knows how to handle and be involved and act in the modern warfare. We know how to take down, first time in history, 2 military airplanes by the robot, by the drone, by the sea drone, which happened the day before yesterday. We're showing the world, if we're not getting towers from the German government, we're going to create our own. We're showing that we know the system, how to protect our country, how to produce or reproduce weapons. We know how to handle the biggest threat that is continue to be out there with big ambitious, imperialistic ambitions. Speaking of our neighbor, Russia. We know how to handle them. And here's the question in the room. Are you stronger with us, Ukrainians, as largest European country with its richest resources in Europe and one of the strongest and best army that has been adapted in the past 3 years? Are you stronger with us or are you weaker with us? As European Union, speaking of the economical part, and NATO as a military part. Ask yourself if you don't want to give an answer to me right now.
Certainly, whether the NATO is stronger or not, one thing is very clear, that Donald Trump coming into office is a wake-up call for the Europeans, certainly when it comes to security. The issues of strategic economy and raising defense budgets have been debated for years in Europe, but now seems to be the time wherein we heard it this morning, we heard it yesterday, many panels are dealing with European security. These days, Germany has a new chancellor, Friedrich Merz. You think that Europe has understood the seriousness of the situation? It is going to seize it historically, that Europe will take responsibility for its own security?
Do I believe it? Do I feel it? Absolutely yes.
You're traveling all across Europe, you're speaking to the leaders.
I just came from Los Angeles, where I was yesterday, the day before yesterday, 4 days ago, I was in Ukraine. Today I'm here. So I definitely can make my own diagnosis. I'm not representing, by the way, any party, never been, any office. So I have a relative that is a politician. So I know what it feels like, I know what it is. and I am speaking for myself and can give not far diagnosis, but diagnosis because diagnosis that feels pretty true and truthful, because I'm moving around and feeling it. So guess what I did in Los Angeles? It was Milken Conference, one of the most important conferences that in the world of the economy, with Elon Musk involved in it and other financial leaders of this world that gathered in Los Angeles and exchanged opinions. And I was on a panel like right now, and has been all about future Ukraine. Invest in Ukraine. And you asking, what? It's a war zone. What are you talking about? Yes, invest in Ukraine. Because we've been showing for the past 3 years that we're reliable. We're not falling. We're strong. And even though you ask us, how are we doing? And we're going to say, great, could be better, but we're right. We're providing something that this world is probably sometimes missing. Speaking of leadership, and if you ask, what is leadership? I mean, is it difficult to be a leader? I mean, yeah, it's nice to be a leader, comfortable when things are good. And they can say, I'm a leader. But true leader and true leadership can only be born and exist in difficult, challenging, horrifying times. And we've been showing leadership in Ukraine for us, Europeans, against an enemy that is bigger, land-wise, number of soldiers, and else, comparably, as Donald Trump said, how could you fight those big guys? You know, the big Russian bear that was been drawn. It's not as horrifying, it's not as big, it's not as strong. And we've been showing for the past 3 years, instead of 3 days, as all of us, including us Ukrainians, thinking before the war, full-scale war 2022, started that we're going to fail in 3 days. We didn't, because we chose to fight. We chose to show the leadership. We chose to resist and to show the world that we're better and more than you think. And if we stand together, and it's a good example, you know, I'm coming from the sport of boxing, and so we're using hands as our tools, as we're using weapons as our tools to defend our country. So this is my guns here, okay? And if I throw my punches with fingers like that, and every finger represents a country, let's say, or a person, let's say, as an example. But if we put it all together, we're much stronger. And that's why European Union, staying together, means staying stronger for a longer time, for better time. And time of challenges will always occur and always come also in this beautiful country that is protected by the mountains and more. Everywhere, at any time, challenges can occur. That's why show the face to your challenge, not your back. And that's why Face the Challenge was born here in St. Gallen. At the University of St. Gallen, we have the president of the University of St. Gallen. And, right here, the lights. But it's nice to be called the president, right? Face the Challenge methodology was born here at the University of St. Gallen. And for 1 decade, this methodology has been shared for executives, for the people with experience, as a CES certified study course, which called Challenge Management, Change Innovation Management. and self-management.
Yeah, you're pleading for the European Union to stay united and strong in these critical times. Of course, it's well heard here in this room and certainly beyond. We will see, of course, what the next few days, weeks, if not months, will bring. The US-led negotiations to the war are still ongoing, but we are already hearing Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, has said the US will not pursue peace indefinitely. They say Donald Trump could walk away from this if he doesn't see any results anytime soon. And US Vice President J.D. Vance recently said that the war in Ukraine is not going to end anytime soon. So we will see what will come out of this. We're almost out of time. I want to end a bit more on a lighter note. You showed your hands, of course, as a former boxing champion, two-time heavyweight boxing champions. Did I get that correctly? There are rumors of you coming back as a boxer?
Coming back? I never left. It's part of my life. It's something that helps me.
But stepping into the ring, I read that you are considering stepping back into the ring.
Well, one more time, devils in details. I'm sometimes in the political ring, even though I'm not a politician. I'm in different rings, and my most important priority is to return our kids back, because when your country is in war, I'm capable and I'm willing to do anything that it takes. And for the past over 3 years, I lived outside of Ukraine most of my lifetime. I was born in Kazakhstan. I went to boarding school when I was 14, so I grew up in Czech Republic, part of Soviet Empire, because our father was in military, so he was based there under Soviet Empire, and then Ukraine, and I was 14 when I went to boarding school, and I've been just traveling, so I've been outside of Ukraine for a long time. But I chose right before the beginning of the war, and we remember that Russian military forces were on the Ukrainian border, and President Biden, back then, was saying, if Russia will cross the line, the border, there are going to be severe consequences that we're still waiting for in the 4th year now. So every single morning I wake up and I look in the mirror and I'm asking myself, what else can I do for my country? And I will do and ask this question as long as the senseless war is still going. And what's going to be afterwards, I don't know.
Yeah.
So my answer is, still I got it? Yes. I still got it.
Yeah, looking at you, I have zero doubt that you still got it. I'm sure you would... I'm going to... We're out of time, but I want to end on a very quick quote that you have tweeted only 3 days ago. It's caught my attention, and we're at a university here today, so seems like a very good place to share it with the students, certainly. You tweeted, "It is always later than you think. Don't wait, take action. It's the shortest way to your dreams." Were you referring to yourself, to Ukraine, to young people such as the ones we have here in the audience? What was the purpose of that message?
I was referring you right now and right here, because I knew I'm going to see you, and I know you're reading my posts on Twitter or X or whatever it's called. So there are a lot of different social network, a lot of sources. I just wish that we all going to be continuing being egotistical and act without compromises. And you're going to ask me, what is he talking about? Ego is kind of bad. No. Ego is the driving force. As an athlete, I know if I didn't have big ego, I wouldn't succeed. And why without compromises? Because I'm telling you, you're aiming the goal, and you're on your way to this goal, and every single compromise that you're going to take will distract you from that goal and will steal time of your life. For this time, you take the compromise. if you take the compromise. And we don't have too many days left. I don't want to put you down with that, but our lifetime and lifespan is limited, and time is ticking faster than we think. And that's why I want to ask you to act now. Support Ukrainian children. There's a good saying, "Das sind keine fremde Kinder." In German and in English probably, there are no foreign kids. Children are children. And Ukrainian children could be also great creators of this country and great addition of this country. And not just this country, but also European Union and the world. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your support. Yeah. Ali, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for all the questions.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Let's keep on punching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All the best. Thank you.